Welcome, Soul Family, to another episode of Awaken with Carla, the podcast that empowers you to awaken your mind, nurture your body, heal your heart, and nourish your soul. I am your host, Carla, and I'm so thrilled to have you here with me today. Now, as you know, each episode we cover a variety of different topics from health, wellness, spirituality, mindset, manifestation, all with the intention of guiding you towards unlocking your infinite potential. Together, we embark on a transformative journey of self-discovery where we learn practical tools, inspiring insights, and learn from personal stories that inspire us to create positive changes in our life. So without further ado, let's get started with today's episode by introducing our guest speaker, Azzah Manakova. Azzah has an interesting background. She is a first-generation Australian with Russian parents and grew up with Aboriginal kids in the Australian outback. Her history and her experience shows us a deep love and understanding of diverse cultures, psychology, and spiritual practices. Her expertise includes a long list of skills and knowledge, including Gestalt therapy, psychic healing techniques, Tau energy diagnosis, breathwork, psychotherapy, and trauma release, and recently trained with Dr. Gaber Matt in his compassionate inquiry and trauma healing system. So in this episode, we're going to be covering ways for us to embrace our shadow self and how we can integrate that darkness or that shadow self into our lives. So Azzah shares her unique perspective, some practical tips, as well as some techniques that can help us to actually integrate our shadow selves into our day-to-day life. Whether you're here because you're seeking guidance on your physical health, emotional healing, spiritual awakening, or you're simply looking to align your mindset for success, then you're definitely in the right place. Our intention here is to provide you with the tools and inspiration that you need to create a life that is filled with abundance, purpose, and fulfillment. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey, and remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Quick reminder before we dive into the episodes that if you like this episode, to make sure to subscribe, to hit that like button, hit the notification, and make sure you download this episode. So let's get ready to ignite your curiosity, expand your consciousness, and awaken the extraordinary that lies within you. Let's dive in to this episode of Awaken with Carla. Thank you so much and welcome. I appreciate you being here today, Azzah. If you can just begin by telling us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
I'm originally a Gestalt therapist. A long time ago, I was I studied Gestalt in San Francisco. My teacher actually just died recently. Cindy Sheldon, she started the Gestalt Institute in San Francisco, and then she gave it up, and now it's a totally different thing. Anyway, and then I went to Asia. I studied Buddhism. I've done trauma therapy. I've done, just constant studying and working on myself. I think that's a responsibility of a therapist to never stop working on themselves, their own shadow. And I was born in Australia. My parents came from Russia, and I grew up with Australian Aborigines. That's the most important part. Australian Aborigines are amazing people. They're just amazing people, and their survival has been not to share themselves with anyone. Their culture is incredible. So that's basically, and I do workshops. I've traveled to 14 or I don't know how many different countries, and I've worked in Asia and Africa, Europe, the Americas, Russia, I've worked in a lot of different places doing transformational workshops.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Can you tell us a little bit more about what Gestalt theory or therapy is? I mean, I have a little bit of training in Gestalt, probably certainly not to the extent that, of course, you do, but maybe just for the audience or the listeners to have a little bit of context of what that is.
It's basically, it was started by Fritz and Laura Pearls, husband and wife. And my teacher was a direct student of them. And it's basically being in the present moment and going back to the past where you separated from yourself, because that's what trauma does. It separates us from ourselves. So being a mature adult as you are now in the present and going back simultaneously, and that has the effect of releasing the trauma out of the body.
Right.
Yeah, that's basically, because trauma has to be released out of the body. It's one thing about understanding trauma, which is, yes, very important, but it has to be released. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, because when we trap and store trauma or all of these emotions in the physical body, it can actually eventually lead to having all of the different diseases that we know humans essentially experience, from cancer to heart attacks to diabetes. Like the list is endless as to what physical disease can actually show up in the body simply from holding on to trauma or emotions that are sort of heavier and lower vibrating.
Yeah. Just imagine like being humiliated, for example, and the energy of that is heat, and it's like, and then holding that in the body.
Right.
Because and then it accumulates, and then it attracts that frequency, and it keeps going and going. It's going to pop something inside, because that heat and that pain of being humiliated attacks some sort of organ, like your liver or your heart or something. It's accumulated inside.
Right. I love that. You also mentioned something about the doing shadow work or shadow self. Can you maybe explain a little bit about what the shadow self is and why it's important to do some of that shadow work that you were talking about?
The shadow is all the parts of you that you rejected as a child. Don't be curious. Stop it. Don't. Bad, wrong, how should I be? I should be quiet. I should be cute and smiling. I should be, not emotional, whatever, you're looking at how you should be, because your existence depends on attachment to your parents, to your society, your community, your school, whatever. You want to be loved and accepted. So your existence depends on attachment. Otherwise, you'll die. As a child, you can't, you don't know how to live in the world, of course. So you have to separate from yourself to have attachment. How should I be? Okay, I'll be real pretty and cute and quiet and everyone loves me. Oh, she's so lovely. She's so gentle. She's so sweet, and you get approval of that. So where's your force? Where's your curiosity? Where's your energy pushing through a situation and feeling good about yourself? Where's your energy gone? It's gone underground, but it's still there. And that creates a shadow. So if I'm not allowed to be direct. I have to be quiet and cute, then this happens inside, of course, because my nature is I want to be direct. I want to say what is right now. And so I'm not allowed to. And then I'm like, and anyway, I don't like them. And and that's going on inside. And then you block yourself from that, knowing what's going on inside, because you want to be good. But it's still going on because life pushes us to wholeness. It's our nature. Our spirit pushes us to wholeness. So it's there, and then it's like, oh, I'm scared to look at that part, part of me, because then I won't be a cute, lovely girl and no one will love me. So then you become scared of yourself. Imagine that.
Right.
You become scared of yourself. It's craziness.
And so why is it important to address sort of those parts of us? What happens when we don't?
Once you look at that, what will happen is the pain that it created for you to repress that part of yourself comes up and you release it. You either get angry and bash and how could they do that to me, or whatever, scream or cry, or whatever way your body needs to release. And then you have access to that part of you. But as a mature adult, you have access to directly speaking, to curiosity, I don't have a need to be pretty all the time. I can just be me, and accept me. And when you're living from, the gurus say, be in the present moment. Okay, yes. How? Because my head's spinning and I've got trauma inside. So how am I going to be in the present moment? Oh no, I failed. I'm not in the present moment. And the past keeps knocking at me to heal.
Right.
Once you clear all of that, there you are. That's it. Yeah.
Yes. I love that. And it's actually something I teach as well, my students, is that in order for us to really tap into our greatness, our potential, the things that we want to attract in our life and create in our life, we first need to heal from that trauma. We need to heal from that past pain, because so much of that is creating roadblocks, mental blocks, emotional blocks that are not allowing us to be in the right space, in the right energy, in the right mental space to be able to draw those things in or create those things for ourselves, right?
Yeah. And okay, I want to be in the right space. Now I'm in the right space. Oh, good. Okay. How long is that going to last?
Right.
If there's no root connection, it's just,
yes, absolutely.
I should be in the right space. And then I'm going to, okay, I'm in the right space. It's not going to last.
No. The second part of the teaching is really to reconnect with themselves, because and I think that is what people struggle with the most, is that we are conditioned to be a certain way from young children. As you said, we develop all these different patterns of who we think the world wants us to be, and we fall into the expectations of society, family, friends, all of the things outside of us, that we end up forgetting who we really are. And through the process of healing, you need to let go, but then you need to discover and rediscover who you are, so that you can then take those steps with intention, and purpose and meaning, because now it's coming from a place of actually knowing who you are at your core, and not allowing anything from the exterior world to sort of deter you or deviate or take you off your path of whatever it is you're trying to achieve, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah. And it's a
understanding that
process.
there's exactly. I was just going to say, understanding that it's a process and there are going to be great and good days and days that are going to be more challenging, but it's coming back to that knowing of who you are and what you're seeking that is going to help push you forward in the right direction.
Yeah. 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 Just self-acceptance, 100%
Yes.
self-acceptance
Yes.
instead of being scared of yourself.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
amazing, isn't it?
It's so
You
beautiful once
know?
you finally get there, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I constantly work on myself, and I've had hinges, I've had moments in my life where, wow, here I am. It's just a whole different sensation of presence in myself,
Yes, yes,
it's a peace. It's like, oh my God, finally I've arrived,
yes,
finally
yeah.
I'm home, I've arrived.
And it really comes down
Yeah.
to perspective because at the end of the day, the world around us is still happening. Things are still going on in life. We continue to face, adversities and challenges and difficulties, but it really comes down to having that shift in perspective that will allow us to see those experiences that we're encountering in a different light, in a
Yeah,
different
yeah, yeah.
way.
It's releasing yourself from all the things that you're not, you know?
Yes.
So if I'm direct, then I'm bad, releasing yourself from that belief, and once it's gone, what's left? Nothing, a space. So you can intelligently use that energy, for your own creation, for your own life, instead of depressing yourself with all of these negatives of the parts of you that weren't accepted, and your parents, don't do this, don't do that, can't do this, can't. Of course, they're protecting you mostly,
Mhm.
loving you, protecting you, projecting their reality onto you. And it can be totally wrong for your own nature, but you don't know yourself either as a child. So, they don't know you, you don't know you, and you're discovering, and they're putting their reality onto you. As of course, they have to. It's just a process of life. It's not that
Yeah.
it's good or bad or right or wrong or anything. It's
Right.
called being human. This is the
Mhm,
way
mhm,
things are.
mhm. And it's also important to recognize that, I think for 99.99% of the parents out there that they mean well and they have good intentions and, they're doing the best that they can with A, the resources that they have, and B, the knowledge and the information that they have, and even like the amount of work that they've done on themselves, right? And it's not to cast judgment or criticism, but to, as you said, just have an understanding that this is part of the human experience.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we need to learn how to just navigate our own individual experiences, release the things that no longer serve us, all those belief systems, all those stories, all those traumas,
yeah,
so that we can be the conscious, fully connected, fully present adults that we need to be at this point.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And exactly what you said, releasing things that don't serve us, because hiding my directness or curiosity served me. Even though it
Yes.
damaged me, it served me, because that's how I was accepted and that's how I survived. you know. So then it comes a time where I'm an adult. That doesn't serve me anymore. It's actually
Exactly.
blocking my growth.
Exactly.
So I need to deal with it. It needs to come out of the closet and have a good look at it. And, you know, and people are scared to do that, where it's just human nature. It's that's all. You know, we did what we did. As our parents did what they did with what they knew, we did what we did with what we knew. Same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it doesn't serve anymore because
Right.
it's gone.
Right.
And
The
we need,
circumstance changed. It's a different reality now.
yeah,
There's so many factors.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the shadow. It's made of all of the things that we imagined or real wasn't accepted
Right.
in how we grew up.
I like how you frame that. It's easy for people to, I think, understand and conceptualize that. It's all the things that weren't accepted because, that can mean so many different things for people, right? And how it shows up in people's lives is so different. Um, can you share what are some common signs that indicate someone might be struggling with their shadow self?
Depression,
Yeah.
depression,
Yes.
expression, depression. That's a
Yeah.
sign. Depression. You are depressing yourself. That's because something needs to be expressed and lived. You know, my life wants to be lived. And I'm depressing my life force and not allowing parts of me to be lived. Depression, absolutely. Yeah. If you're depressed, get a pillow and scream, bite and scream and scream and scream. I bet you're going to feel better afterwards. To express. It doesn't matter if you know what you're screaming at or not. That doesn't matter. But your body wants to release. Your
Yes.
body wants to, you eat. You must do caca. If you don't, it's going to run, the poison will run through your system and kill you, basically. It's exactly the same emotionally. Thunder and lightning, pow, rain, that's all. And look at nature, that's who we are. Do thunder and lightning, the clouds have built up and they're really, really heavy and you feel heavy and depressed. And then suddenly it rains, bam, and then everything lightens up. The air smells different. The plants, the trees, everything exudes this oxygen. It's exactly the same. Our nature is exactly the same. And isn't it amazing where, I'll rationalize it and understand it and think that I've dealt with it, but it's in the body. So I'm constantly disconnecting from the signs of what my body's telling me. It's like drive a car and there's a red light, boom, 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 boom. Oh, turn that red light off and then it's fixed. No, something's going to blow up.
Right.
Look at why the red light is on. And the red light are symptoms. They're symptoms, yeah.
I think we've become a culture of just sort of masking the problems, kind of sweeping them under the rug, or just, and a lot of like these sort of personal development movements have really helped in encouraging people to sort of start, changing their mindset, changing like affirmations or using all of these sort of more sort of superficial
Exactly.
solutions
Yes.
to help fix the problem, when
Yeah.
in reality, yes, those things are great. I'm not saying don't use
Yeah.
affirmations. I
Yeah.
love affirmations. I use affirmations myself, but we've become a culture that is just only doing things that are very surfaced, or we're sweeping it under the rug and we're not really looking at the root of the problem and going deep to the root of the problem so that we can fix it at that level.
Right.
Because if we stay surfaced, then it's just going to keep coming up
Yeah.
in different
The
ways
root
and
will
showing
keep,
up in different ways.
yeah, the root will keep growing the same tree.
Exactly.
You get
Exactly.
rid of the root, and then it's gone. And then there's a space there.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. We've become disassociated from ourselves, from our nature. We've forgotten that the body is telling the story.
Yes.
There
Yeah.
was a test that was made a long time ago, a few years ago in New York, where they put a camera out on a busy street and people walking up and down, shopping time, and then they took it to a prison and had 200 men that were in prison for rape sit there and watch that and pick the woman that they would rape. And all of them picked the same woman. Why? She was just one of the thousands of people that walked up, across that camera. Why? She had the energy.
Yes.
Yeah. You release that energy, the victim energy, or the anger energy, or the look how good I am energy. You release that, and then you come to a balance in yourself where you can feel your own life instead of worrying about other people's opinion of you. And, what do I look like? Constantly being externalized, looking for myself outside instead of inside where I am. Imagine that, like 200 men knew the woman that they could rape because she vibrated that energy. And we all vibrate some sort of energy if we're not in balance, and to get balance, just go to the root cause of why you're out of balance and clear it.
Yes.
It's actually simple. And we have all of nature supporting us because nature brings us back to wholeness constantly. That's what symptoms are. They are a way that our nature is trying to red light, have a look here, clear this,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't take a million years.
No. It doesn't even have to take years to fix health issues that we have, emotional
Absolutely,
issues,
right?
mental issues. Like, it can be done in a really short period of time. It's just about getting our mental and our emotional state of being in alignment with who we really are. But to get there first, we do need to do that release. We need to let go. We need to learn from what we experienced so that we can let it go and move forward, because that's what it's about. It's not meant to keep us stuck. And
No, it's not meant to keep us stuck.
no, and feel trapped and victimized in our own lives, really, and that so many people are
Yes,
walking around like that.
yeah. Trapped and victimized in our own body.
Exactly, exactly. Yet we are the only ones who have the key and the solution, and really the key to opening that up and releasing ourselves from being trapped.
Yes, yeah, 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 absolutely. And my beliefs, all my beliefs, I shouldn't, I mustn't, I can't, keep me in prison. That's a prison.
Yes.
So I'm looking through that lens. I can't, I mustn't, I shouldn't. I'm castrating myself. Well, if I don't do that, then I'll just be like a wild animal and go crazy. No, you won't. No, you won't. Your conscience will come forward.
Yes.
Your consciousness will come forward. Your empathy, your innate morality, our natural morality comes forward, and where you feel life, so you can't inflict pain onto life, because you can relate to that feeling instead of being castrated and numb, and my ego, pushing me to take advantage, look, see how good I am. Yeah, it's craziness. That the ultimate, that's the micro. The macro is war.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, we're unfortunately living through that. Well, I mean, so many of us have lived through smaller scale to larger scale wars over the course of the last, 100+ years. But yes, I mean, it's something that we're living through as we're recording this, and I couldn't agree more. It's just a larger manifestation of that same issue.
Yeah. I'm right, you're wrong.
Exactly.
And I'm going to kill you because you're wrong.
Right.
I mean, put it real simply, that's what it is. You're Absolutely. Bad and I'm good. That type of insanity, where all the gurus are saying we are all one, and the ultimate reality is love. No, I'm right and you're wrong, so I'm going to kill you. My wounds are doing that.
Yes.
My wounds are making me see life through that lens.
Yes. How can people start to identify and maybe acknowledge some of their shadow self? Because that's a difficult sort of layer to start peeling back, right?
One of them is the depression. When you wake up in the morning and you're like anxiety and your head spinning, have a look at what that is. What's it saying? I should, I mustn't, I can't. Oh, why didn't I? I'm gonna, I should have said I didn't do. What's going on there? That's just, it's like you've just woken up and your subconscious and conscious, close together, and this is coming out of your subconscious. See what it's saying. Write it down. It's really important that then you can see, what's driving you, instead of what you are doing. This is what I want to do. My pathology is doing me. And very often I don't even agree with it. Oh no, what if that happens? Actually, if I look at it, I'm not scared of that situation at all. But my imagination, that, some sort of belief in there, is creating that reality of, oh no, what if? Right. And if you analyze it, you don't even believe it, but it's creating your world. Have a look at those things.
It's creating the emotions that you're feeling in the moment, and then it actually will vibrate into that becoming a reality in your world, right?
Yeah. I remember the first time I went on stage, because I'm on stage a lot, and to give a lecture, and I had all of these notes, and I had things written on my hand, as and everything, and I'm backstage and I'm like nearly passing out, beyond sweating water,
Mm.
I'm sweating oil. I'm like dissolving, you know. And, and then I come on stage and once I started talking and I'm seeing everyone rooting for me, actually,
Mm.
you know, they want to hear what I say and they, you know, and people are wishing me well and wanting me to do a good job. And I saw all the love that was poured at me, you know, and then it just, all of that shock dissipated. But afterwards, it's like, this is my story and this is reality, you
Right.
know. The audience want to be entertained, want to learn something, want you to do the best. That they're not interested in you making a fool of yourself at all, you know. And there's the story and there's reality. It was amazing. So that story needed to go, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it needed to go bye-bye. Absolutely, because it was blocking my life.
Right. I imagine immediately things probably started to feel very differently for you when you had that realization, right? Like
And
going up on
imagine,
stage the next time was
yeah,
much easier. And then it just became
yeah.
something you do so unconsciously that you don't even think about it anymore.
No, I don't think about it at all. And imagine if I didn't walk out onto that stage.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
my life would have taken a totally different turn. That would have depressed me, that's for sure.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I'd wake up in the morning.
Can you share maybe some tools or techniques or exercises that people can use in exploring their shadow self and like how to sort of integrate it and have it help them come back to wholeness?
One thing you can do is write. If you're angry, get a pencil and paper and write, I hate you and it's your fault and it's all you and I don't care anyway. Vomit, really. You can repeat 1,000,000 times, you can write it big or whatever way you want, just write it out. And then once you've written and blamed is really good, you know, just, I mean, as a like a child, you know, when
Mhm.
your parent does something, I hate you, and you blame and hate and blame and hate, that's doing is releasing the shock out of your body. Once you've done that and it's cleared, that quality of energy has cleared, after that, write down which part of me survived that trauma. There was a part of me that I don't know. And I need to get to know. I need to bring it to consciousness, because that's an amazing force that I have in my own nature that survived that situation, you know, and get to know that part of yourself. And what's the solution that that part of yourself came up with?
Mhm.
Because you survived.
Right.
And there's different degrees, of course, you know, different degrees. This horrific thing happened to me and I survived it. I need to find that quality in me that survived, you know, and I need to get to know it. I need to either have a visual or whatever way, visual, auditory, emotional, energetic way that you learn to recognize that part. And then what's the solution that that part of you comes up with? That's very important to do.
Right.
And
This,
there's another way as well that that you can do. Like if you have somebody that you trust, not a family member, but it's even good if it's a stranger, but somebody that's on the same frequency as you, and you sit with that person. You can do it on Zoom or anywhere, and one person listens and the other one talks for half an hour or 1 hour or 2 hours, and you just talk. Whatever, doesn't matter. You talk and talk and talk, and the other person is objectively sitting there listening to you. So your pain is being seen. And when you tell another person, it becomes real, it grounds you. And then change, and then the other person does the same thing. That's very powerful. Mother Teresa had that skill of really being able to listen. And when you're listened to, you're being seen and heard.
And I think that's all that everybody really wants, is just to be seen and heard when we're in those moments, right? We want someone to take a moment and actually listen to what we're saying, and appreciate where we're coming from, and give us the understanding and the compassion that we need for the circumstance, right? And
it's so healing. It's so healing.
It's so healing. It's so healing. And it's so, as you said, sometimes it's so much easier to do that with a complete stranger than it is to do that with people who are close to you.
Yes. Yeah. No, you can't do it with people that are close to you.
No.
Too many triggers.
Yes. Way too
You
many
can't
triggers.
be objective. No.
So how can someone sort of distinguish the difference between when they're like expressing their shadow in a healthy way versus in a sort of destructive
Unhealthy.
through destructive behavior or unhealthy ways?
If you're purging onto someone, then that's unhealthy. You're just fueling the fire. Purging onto someone, because yes, you did it. No, I'm not gonna allow you to do it, but I understand that that's your thing. It's not mine. So it's of no use purging onto another person. It's destructive for yourself first, because that creates pain, and our heart feels guilt from that, even though the person did something terrible, and it feels good to release it onto the person, but still there's an after effect, an aftertaste in your heart that is left there of guilt or shame or so that just creates more and more and more.
Right.
Releasing it, go to the right out, or whatever way you do it, get to the root cause. Look at the repetitive negative patterns that keep self-sabotage, for example. Look at that and get to the root cause and release it. By writing, by screaming into a pillow, by going to a therapist, release it. And then after that, once it's gone, there's another level of intelligence that comes up from another place in you, not from your mind. It comes from a deeper place of understanding in you. Yeah. Otherwise, if you purge it onto someone, you're self-destructing, number one, as well as towards the other person.
Right. What sort of role do emotions play when it comes to dealing with this shadow self? You just mentioned a few of the emotions. You're talking about guilt and shame. Are there any other emotions that usually come into play when it comes to dealing with the shadow self?
Um, uh, well, narcissism and passive aggressive and, all of these different perverted survival mechanisms of trying to make yourself feel good about yourself, the mind generally vibrates at 70 hertz per second. That's the speed of the mind, generally. The physical intelligence, like fire, burn, your body immediately reacts, is double the speed. It's 140 hertz per second. And the emotions is double that, it's 280. So my mind at 70 hertz per second is trying to rationalize and control 280.
It's interesting. I've never had anyone put it in that way. Okay. That can be a challenge.
Oh, yeah. You will lose. You will lose. Even though you got it together, and then you're at a cocktail party and talking to someone and something, important's going on, and boom, your shadow's going to jump out. Your emotion, boom, it's going to come out and make a fool of you and destroy the opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what happens. It's like, why did I say that? I didn't mean it. No, that's your shadow side jumping out. And it's the shadow side is your emotional intelligence. And it will win and it will sabotage you. You have to heal yourself emotionally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the brain's not going to do it.
No.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that people face when they're dealing with their shadow and
shame. Guilt is, I did something wrong. Okay, I can fix that. Shame is who I really am is wrong.
That's a great distinction.
That's terrible. That's terrible. So of course I'm not going to, I'm going to be ashamed of going into that initial shame of, what if I really am stupid? What if I really am bad? What if I really am, not capable, but what if I really am this ugly human being inside, What if people find out that I'm fake? What if all of this, that's really, really hard for people to look inside because of that. But it's all made up. It's only a belief. And then that belief, that belief is destroying our life. And then we protect that belief if it's confronted. We protect what's making us sick.
Right. So how do we overcome that belief when in so many cases it's so deeply ingrained into the subconscious that we are not even consciously aware of when we're activating that belief or that we even have that belief? Some of us don't even realize that some of the actions that we're doing are self-sabotaging or are limiting us or have these belief systems in place that hold us back. So how does one begin to overcome them?
But by seeing the negative head spin, You know, and a negative head spin can be, I'm right, you're wrong. And so you're spinning, well, that person did it, and I know that that's right in it. Another one would be, they make me feel my feelings, they make me feel bad. When they say that, they make me feel bad, and I feel and they're not sensitive, and I'm an empath, and I feel and they don't feel. That can be another head spin, or anger, is anger for me has been a saving grace. It's been a saving grace in my life, because I don't implode, I explode. That's my savior. It has been past tense. It has been. We have had a talk. We have educated ourselves. We've done the work. But in Asia, like in the temples, the Buddhist temples, they have these two huge gargoyles, in front of the temples, these two monsters. And what that represents is you come into the sacredness, which is the temple, with respect. Otherwise, I'm going to rip you apart. That's what those gargoyles. And I had gargoyles.
We all do.
Yeah. But there's a main one that we have. I think we have all of them, but there's a main one that dominates. And my gargoyles were, you come here with respect, otherwise I'm going to rip you apart. And the anger, so my head spin when I'm not thinking and just doing something and remembering something, my head spin goes into anger. And anger defended me. It protected me. It made me feel safe. I could feel safe and lick my own wounds internally if I had this anger that is protecting me, and it saved my life instead of imploding and self-destructing. But then it came a time where it needed to grow up. It didn't work anymore. I'm too intelligent and too mature to have that as a protection, I don't need protection anymore, because I know myself, and I have my own intelligence, and I know that whatever's going on or a person's projecting is their projection, and even if there's a truth to it, I'm not scared to look. So I don't need gargoyles anymore.
Keeping you safe, an illusion of safety.
Yeah.
How would someone know when they are integrating their shadow self in a successful way, that they're sort of being able to balance between the light and the shadow, and have those two come together to create the wholeness?
Where you're not in reaction. There's more peace. There's more calmness. You enjoy being you. There's more times of that. And then what happens is you go into ideas. Your head starts going into, oh, that's an interesting idea. Oh, that would be good. Or create. It doesn't matter if you actualize it or not, but your head goes into creativity and ideas, and you get excited about things instead of, oh, no, that wouldn't work. I can't. It doesn't matter if it works or not. That's not the point. Your head's going into ideas and creativity, and there's a calmness, and you start enjoying being you, and your attention goes away from what are they thinking of me, you know, what should I do to impress? And it's like one-upping, you know, how can I be better and more superior and competing? Your head goes away from all of that, and it goes back to you, and you start enjoying being you. So that way, you know, you've been integrating, you know, the integration works.
Yes, it does. It certainly does. So if someone wanted to connect with you, where could they find you? Where would they be able to learn more about, you know, who you are and the work that you're doing?
My webpage, Azzah, AZZAH.org. AZZAH.org. O-R-G. Yeah.
Perfect. I'll make sure to link that.
Okay. And my phone is on that, and my email is on that, so people can contact me. And also, I'm writing a book that is not too far from being published. You know, it takes a long time. It's amazing. And the book is called How to Be a Slave. Yeah. How to be a slave. Don't listen to your intuition. Listen to others' opinion of you. Yes, absolute slavery.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When
Yeah.
we're pulled away from ourselves and we're so focused on the external world, then I couldn't agree more. We become slaves to anyone and everything
Yeah.
outside of us. It doesn't matter what it is or who it is, but we just end up turning over our power and in essence becoming slaves.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. If you don't deal with you know, your own process of evolution, you will be a slave. And slavery is reaction.
Right.
Imagine you're living your whole life in reaction to whatever external, and there you are on your deathbed going, that didn't mean anything anyway, you know, and I wasted my life reacting to it. Boom, you're dead. Too late.
Exactly. And at that
Yeah.
point, there's nothing that can be done to change it.
Yeah, that's
Right?
it. Reality.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Thank you so much. I mean, you've shared so many valuable insights today, and I really, really appreciate that. But I just have one more question for you. This podcast is really all about, you know, helping people realize sort of the inner truths or the truths that are within them so that they can embark on a journey of healing and of coming to wholeness. And I really believe that wholeness encompasses, you know, the mind, the body, the heart, and the soul.
Right.
And so I just wanted to pick your brain and see if you had any final tips or thoughts for our audience that can help them on that journey to bring more balance, to bring more of that harmony into their life, into their mind, into their soul.
Deal with your shadow side. Deal with the aspects of look inside. Just look inside. Look at what your head spin is. Look at how you protect yourself, you know. Look at how much energy it takes for you to be constantly trying to create an impression, so that, you know, what's the bottom line of trying to create impressions, you know, externally? It's to be loved. And why do you want to be loved? It's because you don't love yourself. You know, and what is loving yourself? Love is self-respect. That's all it is.
Mhm.
When you know yourself, it's like, this is my weakness, this is my strength, this is my good, this is my bad. So what? You know, yin and yang, light and dark. So what? Get off my case, you know? And when I do that, what happens is a self-respect comes forward. It's like, yes, I know, you know, and there's a work in progress happening here, but there's a self-respect, and the self-respect is accepting yourself where you are, and the process of life. It's called being human. It's just a process of life. When you really get that on an energy level, you know, and the self-respect, it's a self-respect. It's so important, because that's what love is. Oh, you should love yourself. Oh, okay. What's that? What does that mean?
Right.
It just means self-respect.
Mhm.
That's all. And as you look at all of these, the human journey within yourself, bit by bit, one step forward, one little step forward, the universe will give you 2 steps forward, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's amazing how quickly we come back to wholeness, because it's our nature. And
Yes.
self-respect is this energy that holds us to keep looking. It's like, oh, I don't want to look at that part of myself. It doesn't matter. Your self-respect will hold you to keep
Mhm.
looking at parts that you think are just terrible. If you told another person, they'd say, oh, yeah, me too. But,
Right.
but I'm
Right.
like, "Ugh." Yeah, yeah. Just keep moving forward. It's incredible how quickly we heal.
It is incredible. And I love how you mentioned that when you're in that space and you're ready to embark on that journey of healing, and you take that first step forward, the universe is going to support you and is going to help with um sort of speeding up the time that it's going to take to heal, because I think so many of us believe that, we have all this pain and trauma that has lasted or has been present in our life from when we were children. And depending on how old you are when you're embarking on that journey, that could be many decades, right? And so people think that it's going to take so many decades to also heal from all that pain and trauma. And, I like you mentioned it, when we're ready, the universe is going to step in and is going to support us and is going to help us through that process, and will bring us healing much faster than what we can imagine.
Absolutely. And older people, when they start this journey, they've got all of the energy of their experience behind them.
Yes. Mhm.
So no, it doesn't take a million years.
No,
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 it
it doesn't.
doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Well,
so absolutely. What else? You know, what else?
yeah, I
Don't
mean, I think
live your
that's
life in
what we're,
reaction, you know?
yes. And I think that's what we're here for, is to have these lessons, right?
Evolution. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Evolution and energy is in motion, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Emotion is in motion. It's not a stagnant thing. So you
Yes.
either focus your energy on evolution, or it will focus you on devolution.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you again so much for being here and for really sharing all of these wonderful insights with us. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I hope the listeners today will enjoy our conversation as much as I enjoyed having it with you.
Yeah, thank you, Carla. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Awaken with Carla. I loved speaking with Azzah, and I hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. Now, as we do, as always, I love to wrap up the episodes by sharing with you some of the things that I learned in my conversation. And so, one of the things that I really enjoyed was how Azzah sort of framed the shadow self as being all the things about ourselves that we were told was not accepted. So along the way of our life, we picked up, we have different personality characteristics or traits, and along the way, people have told us different aspects about ourselves that they like or they dislike. And over time, this has sort of compounded and created that shadow self. And so the shadow self are all those things, all those characteristics that we've either been told by others that they don't like, or we ourselves don't like about ourselves. And so it's a good way to start sort of diving in and getting curious about what is the shadow work that needs to be done and what are some of those things that you need to look at. Second thing that came out of this conversation was that both depression and anxiety are signs that you need to do the shadow work. And I love how Azzah mentioned that when we're experiencing depression, we're actually depressing. She even showed that example where we're depressing our energy, our being, who we are. We're actually just making it smaller. Whereas the opposite of that, when we're feeling happy and joy, we're actually in the expression mode where we're expressing and happy and joyful about ourselves and everything around us. So if you are looking for ways to identify whether you need to do some of the shadow work, look to see whether you're dealing with a lot of anxiety and whether you're dealing with a lot of depression. That will be the number one sign that can help you sort of identify that you need to start doing some shadow work. The last thing that came out of this conversation was that we need to get to know the parts of us that survived the different challenges that we've been faced, the adversity, the trauma, whatever it is that we've encountered in our life. We need to really spend time and learn about that aspect of who we are rather than, and we've talked about this a few times on the show now, that what we typically do and what we've been conditioned to do is just sort of brush all of those things under the rug and pretend that they don't exist. All that's doing is creating more shadows. And so, what we need to do is, as we face challenges and we face the adversity or even encounter trauma in our life, that we actually need to bring light into that by looking at it, observing it, and finding the areas and the opportunities for growth. I know this can be challenging sometimes, especially when we're dealing with the shadow self, but know that there are so many individuals out there that have been through this and can help you along the way when it comes to dealing with the shadow self. So if you do need support in that area, make sure that you reach out. I'm happy to work with you to provide you with some guidance on how to shine the light on those darker aspects of ourselves and start to bring that shadow self into wholeness, back into wholeness. Remember, this journey, this healing journey, and this, self-discovery journey and learning about our spirituality and tapping into our spirituality, it is a lifelong pursuit. We're doing this for the rest of our lives. So I encourage you to keep learning, keep growing, and keep finding different ways that you can grow in your own unique way. Again, I remind you, anytime you have any questions, or if you just want to share some feedback, make sure that you reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, go on my social media pages, send me a message, whatever the case may be, whatever suits you. Because I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to learn from my listeners and, just exchange different ideas. And then remember that you're not alone on this journey. If you do feel like, you're in a dark place and it feels lonely, remember that there's been others that have been there before. And so reach out if you need the support. And finally, I just wanted to say thank you to Azzah for being on the show and for sharing with us so much wisdom and valuable insights that I know she has. And lastly, to thank you, all of the amazing listeners. We're building an incredible community, and I'm so happy that you're here and you're following along, and hopefully that you're learning and growing in the process. Remember that if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to share it with your family or friends. Make sure you hit that like button and just help me spread the word and send this message out there so that we can help impact the lives of more people, help them to start their healing journey, and help them to find their own greatness. Remember that the power to awaken your best life lies only within you. You have everything you need to be able to manifest the dreams and create a life that is filled with purpose and meaning. Until next time, keep embracing your journey of self-discovery, nurturing your well-being, and awakening the extraordinary that lives within you. Stay tuned for more empowering episodes of Awaken with Carla. May you find peace, love, and light on your path.